Welcome, friends, it's the Movie Film Podcast. Movie Film Podcast, enjoy the show. Zachy and Brian are talking about movies. Movie Film Podcast on the radio. Welcome to Movie Film. This is episode 215, and it is 2021. My name is Zachy Hassan.
And I'm Brian Hall.
Hey, how's it going? I'm taking in the fact that it is 2021.
Same here. I had this mental image, I think, on either New Year's Eve or New Year's Day, where I thought, wow, like, it was been such a... I mean, it's an understatement to say it's been a crazy year, and you just didn't know where it was going to go next, and it never gave up, and it occurred to me like it never relented until the very last day. And so I had this mental image of a book and being on the last page and shutting it, and it said 2020 on the front, and you put it on the shelf and go, wow, that year just, it's officially closed and on the shelf, and it's just a crazy thing to wrap your head around.
I was fully expecting midnight to strike, and the calendar would say December 32nd.
Yes.
And we'd all just be like, well, that just seems like a thing that would happen this year. You know?
I know. It wouldn't even bat an eye.
It's what a year. I mean, it tells you something about 2020 that we had planned to come back and record at least one more episode in 2020.
Yeah.
And that's what we promised. We said, hey, we're going to be back. We got more to talk about, and we didn't. So
yes.
You know,
I will. Yeah, I was gonna say I'll accept the blame for that, just because. Yeah, as I said in the last episode, I was out in Oklahoma with my family. I was out there for almost a month, and we just got really busy with Christmas, and then eventually my brother and I drove back this past week, and so we only had a couple days left where, you know, to see the family, and I had work I had to do and get in, and then the drive was about 20 or 22 hours straight that my brother and I took turns driving, and I've been sleeping for like 2 days after that. So it was a lot, but I appreciate everybody's patience, and I'm happy to be back here feeling fresh and ready to kick off a new year.
Well, all I'm going to say is, if you're in fact hoping and waiting for a new episode, I'm going to tell you the same thing I tell my kids with regards to their sporting events. Hey, if it happens, it happens. They don't talk to me much, but no, I mean, yeah, this is. I mean, obviously, all good intentions notwithstanding, you know, life does get in the way, and it's actually funny because just you know, this past week, you know, the week between Christmas and New Year was for me the first time in, I think, like forever, where I had nothing on the calendar.
Oh. That sounds so
no grades, no classes, no writing deadlines, absolutely nothing. And I was in this state of just permanent bliss. and if I could just bottle that feeling and just like you know, in Spaceballs when he's like sniffing the air, if I could just do that,
yeah,
that would be amazing. Because I'm staring down the barrel of like 6 months of just nonstop classes.
Oh, okay.
And that's good too. Obviously, it's good to be busy, but it's nice. It's a nice feeling. So, what have you been up to? How has your New Year been going so far?
So far, so good. I mean, it's been busy. You know, this year actually didn't really feel. Usually, New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. Well, I think I felt different for everyone, I should note, but just kind of rolling into town like I did and being so tired and just, you know, having some work on my plate and things I got to knock out. And I think the restful, reflective moment will be coming in a couple days for me.
Okay.
But that's not to say that the trip, I have to mention this on the show, wasn't without some fun, because obviously it's, when you drive for 20 plus hours, you see the sun go up, you see the sun go down, and there's something kind of fun about that. But my brother and I, on the way back, realized in the middle of Arizona, that's where they filmed Bill and Ted. And I thought, man, I wonder if the Circle K's out there. Like the Circle K, if it still exists. So I Googled it, and sure enough, it's in Tempe, Arizona. And I did the math, and it only added 30 minutes to our trip to do it. And we were like, well, I mean, we got it, right? So we left Oklahoma around noon, my folks' place, and then at 3:30 a.m. we pulled into the Circle K.
Wow.
And it was, I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty awesome. I told Dan, I think for a lot of people, they go to Disneyland and they're like, wow, it's magic come to life. and I love Disneyland, but for me, when I go to the mall parking lot from Back to the Future, when I see the Circle K from Bill and Ted, like, that's strange as it is, that's kind of my Disneyland. And so, I mean, like a total goober, I went in there like, I'll get a Circle K hat or a shirt or something. And they don't do that because why would they?
Why would they?
But the guy inside, he was cool. We were playing it kind of cool, like just buying a coffee real quick and gonna take some pictures. And then we mentioned why we were there, and he goes, "Oh yeah." He's like, "Well, we got a poster over there on the wall and whatever." And then he was cool, and he took our picture outside.
Oh, that's nice, at least.
He was pretty cool, yeah. I mean, for being like, the complete graveyard shift. And
what's cool to me, Brian, is you've got like a nice little album of you at various movie locations. Yeah,
I mean, it's really been super fun for me to figure out where these things are. And of course, where I live, a lot of them happen to be around me. I mean, I've been to John Connor's house from Terminator 2, and my brother, this is hilarious. I probably said this before, but he put on that Guns N' Roses song, and we backed into the driveway, and we saw there was no cars around, and we were like, ah, and then like drove on the driveway with the song playing. Wayne's house from Wayne's World, of course, all the I think every single Back to the Future location. Yeah, I love that stuff.
Well, and you and I went to the Cyberdyne location.
Yes, which was so cool. And I looked up where it was, and I didn't know the geography super well, but it turns out it's just like 20 minutes from your house.
Yep.
Yeah, that was pretty surreal. Because then when I get there, I think, wow, these images that I just know so well, and that feels sort of fantastical, right? I mean, picture Arnold with his minigun up there and all these cop cars and glass everywhere. And when you're standing there, it's like, wow, that was literally here. That's hard to wrap my head around.
Yep.
Yeah.
Pretty
that was a lot of fun. Which is funny too, because I'd gotten into skateboarding in the past couple of years. And so I wanted to like just skate the length of that parking lot. And when I was video doing that, we only did one take, and I hit a rock and tripped. And I was like, well, so it is.
So when you're skateboarding and you see a bunch of teens, do you go up to them and are you like, greetings, fellow kids?
I definitely feel that way. Or like when I see kids skating by on the sidewalk much better than I ever will, I'm always like, my people, to myself from my window. You know?
That's really funny.
Yeah.
Well, what stuff have you seen since the last time we talked?
Well, I saw not as much as I would normally watch, just being with the family. You know, you find the things that everyone's going to enjoy. And one I wasn't even going to mention, but I got really into this reality show. I don't watch a lot of reality shows. I'm not being a snob about it. I just don't know them, you know, and I don't skip past them on the channels. But my parents watched this show called Insane Pools.
Okay.
And it's basically this guy and his mom and a couple regular workers, and these really, really wealthy people go, I just want you to do something insane in my backyard. Like put in a fire feature, put in a 100-inch television, and I want like a grotto. And they just dig up the yard, and they just create basically a water park in these people's backyards. And we just happened to watch one episode, and I was like, wow, man, that was kind of fun. My parents were like, yeah. And then the next night I'm like, hey, is there any more of those insane pool shows? And so, like, every night I kept asking, like, did it air again? Can you guys, like, DVR this? I got, like, really into watching this pool show. And then I came home, and, like, one of the first things I did was put it into my DVR.
That is really funny.
Anyway. But, and then also, this is really niche here, but with my mom, you know, we watched a lot of the Hallmark Christmas movies, which is just, I mean, there was literally 40 new movies. Christmas movies this year, like 40 new ones this year, and then of course,
I mean, that's their whole like that's tax season for them, you know. It's like,
yeah, it is. You're right, and I definitely have a thing where I'll start it and I know if I'm going to enjoy it in about like 5 to 10 minutes. And there'll be ones where the whole family's like, nope. And then we turn it and then we do whatever. And then there'll be another one where we're like, and they're all, cheesy and corny and whatever.
I feel like
but
if you watch more than
like,
2 in a row, like all the teeth will fall out of your mouth.
Yeah, but every now and then if they cast it right and the thing isn't too, like, you don't get a cavity within 2 hours, you're like, all right, I kind of enjoyed that.
Sure.
So I was just going to say, we ended up watching the Come Home for Christmas trilogy, which
wow. Okay. It's a trilogy.
Over the past 3 years, there's been time for you to come home for Christmas, time for me to come home for Christmas, and time for us to come home for Christmas. So just for anyone who knows what I'm talking about, and that could be one person, time for me to come home for Christmas. I dug it.
So that's the first one.
Yeah, the others I could take or leave, but the first one, I was like, that was pretty good. So that's my Hallmark Christmas movie talk.
Like, so the first one was when it was genuine. Then it became all about the merchandising and the tie-ins, and
yes,
it stopped being about the Christmas of it all.
No, actually, I was sort of bringing this up just as a joke for the 2 people that understand what I'm talking about. But it's actually kind of interesting because I guess
is that with Blake Shelton?
Oh my gosh, yes. So he wrote a song, and then his mom, I think, wrote a book with a story around the song, right?
Okay.
And then the whole hook of it is each movie features a different cast and a different story, but that song is always a part of the story.
I see.
Which I actually thought was kind of clever, but they were fine, but yeah, the one, the me, time for me, pretty good.
well, there you go.
Yeah.
Larry, the one person who's going to be like, I need to add that to my queue.
And he's like, I disagree. You. But I watched Mank. Similarly, I watched Mank.
Yeah, I know. In that same vein, yeah. Now you were planning to revisit Citizen Kane, right?
Yes. Oh, and I did. Yeah, okay. Man, we haven't talked in so long.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Wait, did we talk about it? I think I might have mentioned it.
You did mention it, I think.
I think so because it was quite obvious.
Like all the references.
Hey, guess what,
and,
guys? It's pretty good.
Yeah. Like this movie, it's not bad. Yeah.
Right.
So did that? And here's my point. Did watching that, was that an integral part of experiencing Mank? That was my question.
I would say people might disagree with me, but I would say no.
Okay.
I would say to my disappointment, this movie wasn't as much about the making of Citizen Kane as I think it was being, proposed. But that's not to say, I mean, that's not fair because that's not what the movie is. But I was sort of looking forward to a 1930s Hollywood, the making of what's considered the greatest movie of all time. And what's that going to be like? And it's really more about the writer, so Herman Mankiewicz, and just everything he's going through, and the through line is basically that he has to get this script done. Okay. So it's really more of a look at just movie making at the time, which again sounds interesting, but I think the problem was this movie felt more like a series of events than something that felt all connected together in an emotionally interesting way. But I can't say, I mean, this comes from David Fincher, and it's, beautiful to look at. And he also shot it, I think, on like 8K or something insane, but then he degraded it so it would look like a film from the 1930s. And that includes the sound design. It has this mono sound design, and their voices are kind of fuzzy, which I really love. So I wish I'd liked the movie a little bit more. But the script was written by his dad, Jack Fincher, who's passed away several years ago. And I have to say, I mean, it is filled with just so many great one-liners. So it's really, it crackles, but at the same time, I found myself wondering what I was on board for a couple times throughout. Like I was just kind of watching the train go by.
Okay.
And it was pretty to look at, and like I say, it crackled in different moments. And other moments for me, I was like, kind of ready to move on from this. But kind of an uneven, attractive but uneven package there. So.
Well, what you're saying is not unique. So what I'm intending to hear is kind of a swing and a miss.
Yeah. For me, I mean, I saw it has like 84 in Rotten Tomatoes, and I'm like, well, great. I'm glad people enjoyed it, but I wanted to enjoy it a bit more. But something I did enjoy quite a lot, actually, was Sound of Metal. So now you have not seen this?
I have not. I just, like 2 days ago, a screener for it arrived at my house. So
okay, great. Yeah, and it's available on Amazon Prime also for
it
people
is.
who want to check
Well,
it out.
then I don't need to watch the screener. Good to know.
But this one, the IMDb summary is: a heavy metal drummer's life is thrown into freefall when he begins to lose his hearing. And it stars Riz Ahmed and is it Olivia Cook, I believe? Yeah. And basically they're this couple, and they, this kind of heavy metal sludge rock sounding band. And at the very beginning of the film, Riz Ahmed loses his hearing, and it's just, devastating because his world, his passion, like what he feels he's there to do, involves sound and hearing. And so he has to make this decision to put everything on hold, and he joins this deaf community. And it's, of course, something that at first he's just really aggressively bucks and resists, and it's a tough drama, watching this guy. And Riz Ahmed is just fantastic. Like, if he's got to be nominated for this. He's just the journey he goes on in this movie. And then there's this guy, is it Paul? I don't want to say it wrong. Raci maybe, or Racy. He plays the person who runs the I don't know what you call it, not a camp, but the deaf community, and he is phenomenal. I mean, like, you're just like, this guy has to be this guy. He's just so embodies it, and it's just this compassionate person who wants to help this guy through this really difficult transition in his life, but also, pulls no punches. So it's just this really interesting mixture of personality that he just completely exudes, and you believe, and you're like, that's a good guy right there.
Okay.
And Olivia Cook too. I mean, she has just a really interesting sort of, I don't know, like, her character goes through really interesting, wildly different things. It's really interesting to watch. And I thought she was really great. She was from Ready Player One.
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, I mean, without saying much more, I mean, it's a really compelling journey with this guy, and I really, really loved it. And speaking of sound design, like with Mank, this one also, I when I was at my parents' place, everyone would go to bed, and I would watch the movie I didn't think everyone else would really want to watch. And so I put on these headphones my dad had. And this movie has just a really, really interesting sound design where it puts you into this person's head. I mean, what is he hearing? How much can he hear? What does it sound like in different scenarios? There's a situation where he's, at a party, and it's all the talking that we take for granted, that when we're around a lot of sort of noise, we can single out the person in front of us talking to us, right? And it's much more difficult for him. And I found myself leaning in, like, what is that person saying? And it's genius. So I've never seen a story like it before, and I thought it was really, really well done. I highly recommend it. How about you?
As for me, well, I did not see Sound of Metal or Mank. Instead, I dove back into the misty yesteryear of 2002 for The Time Machine.
Ah.
And that...
I'm only laughing because you're laughing.
Yeah, no, this is, it's funny because I've said this to you before about my Voodoo selection, where I just randomly accumulate movies in there.
Yeah, right.
And so every once in a while, it's just like, well, never seen this, never even thought about this. Mm-hmm. But let's give this a shot. So I have not seen this before. So this movie came out in 2002. It's based obviously on the H.G. Wells novel, and it's directed by Simon Wells, who was like the great grandson of H.G. Wells.
Wow.
And I have to imagine, like, for DreamWorks, which produced it, that was the entirety of the pitch.
Right.
It stars Guy Pearce, and it is you know, I didn't particularly like it, but I didn't particularly dislike it either. It's one of those.
Sure. What, you know, I've never seen it. So why would you say that is? Like, what makes it a little... the word that came to my mind was milquetoast. I don't know if that's appropriate.
It's probably apt, actually.
Yeah. What's what about it?
It is...
Or what not about it?
Well, it's... If I had watched it in the theater, I might have had stronger feelings about it. Mm-hmm. But to me, as like it's like roughly 100 minutes. 100 minutes, Friday afternoon, I'm watching something with the kids that's just kind of harmless. Mm-hmm. It scratched that itch, you know? It's a WPWR Saturday afternoon
Yep,
type movie, you know? And so it's always interesting to me when I post about this stuff on social media, the divergence of reactions, because you're going to get the people who are like, oh, well, sucks to be you watching this, you know? Mm-hmm. And then there's the, oh my God, I love this movie.
Right.
And that endlessly fascinates me, and not in a negative way, but I mean, it just tells you something. Like, people just plug into things in different ways, you know?
Yep.
The film, I can't honestly recommend it. I would say if you want to watch The Time Machine, watch the one from the 1960s starring Rod Taylor, which is directed by George Pal. I think that's a better movie. But I did sort of appreciate it. It was fun watching with my kids because they were all, like, it's aimed at them. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that's, you know, Brian, that's something I'm cognizant of when it comes to watching movies with the boys. Like, some of these, like, kind of just, like, middle-of-the-road mediocre movies, I feel like, well, now's the time to watch it at their age.
Right.
Because, you know, you can just watch it and appreciate it, and it's not, you know...
Right.
Like, for me, that's a big thing. I don't want them to be cynical about movies.
Right.
I want them to always land on the side of, well, this is something that is joyful. Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, you know... I say this on the show all the time. I'm like, that for me, I try to find my joy for some of these things through them. Mm-hmm. That's what makes it more fun, you know? Guy Pearce is just one of these guys, like, I feel like he doesn't get enough credit.
Yeah. When he shows up, I think you always kind of appreciate him, but I don't think of him a lot, you know?
Yeah.
I don't, like, I mean, Memento, obviously, and he was even in a Marvel movie. Right?
That's right.
I've forgotten which one.
Iron Man 3.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. And he was good in that. The movie was kind of just okay, but he was good.
Right.
Apparently his experience on the Time Machine was what kind of just made him walk away from Hollywood for the most part.
Oh, really?
Like, because, you know, if you remember, there was a moment there where he was being positioned as, like, a capital S star, right?
Yeah. County Monte Cristo?
Yeah, he's the secondary lead in that, and, you know, coming off of LA Confidential, which he's fantastic in.
Right, of course, yeah. He's
also in a movie called Ravenous from, like, 99, I think. And I think he just kind of like, you know, no, I'm not doing that. And I think, you know, it is kind of a meat grinder, but I do feel like, you know, The Time Machine is sort of, it is an artifact of that era, you know, like it is such a early 2000s quote unquote blockbuster.
It's funny you say that, because the other movie that comes to mind out of the blue is The Three Musketeers.
The 1990s one?
Yeah, where I just feel like these sort of classic novels were positioned as blockbusters, which I don't quite know they would do now.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah.
But,
I mean, like the Three Musketeers, the 1990s version. The pitch was, we're doing a version, and obviously that was heavily like inspired by Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
Yeah, sure.
But it's like, let's get these big stars and put them in the classic story. Whereas, like, they did a Three Musketeers not that long ago. I think it was Paul Anderson did it.
Oh yeah! Wow.
Right.
Yeah, it was kind of steampunky, right?
Yeah, and I was like, that's like the modern version where like you have to do that, you know?
Yeah.
Speaking of Paul Anderson, another movie I watched is Monster Hunter.
Oh yeah, tell me about it.
Which is not a good movie, Brian.
Right.
It is very much not a good movie.
Okay.
This is based on a video game, and it stars Mila Jovovich, late of the Resident Evil video game series. which also began with Paul Anderson, who's her husband.
Right.
And so I think Sony was like, well, we had success with Paul Anderson plus Mila Jovovich plus video game. Let's just wash, rinse, repeat. Right?
Right.
And this movie just sucked ass. It was terrible.
I love it.
I mean, it's just bad.
I know. But I'm kind of curious to hear you articulate a little bit. What was it about it? Like what? You know, what was it something it did, something it didn't do?
So, to me, the premise of the game, which admittedly I'm not fluent in, but I know it, right? It's it's this other realm of this land where it's overrun by these various types of monsters, and super geeks will know all the various monsters, and I don't know them, and I don't care, and whatever. I don't need that in my head because it doesn't matter if you remember that stuff. It is unimportant. You are wasting your life. Just letting you know. Anyway, moving on. So it's in this world, right? And so what the movie does is it starts in our world, and it has Mila Jovovich as like the Mila Jovovich character,
Right.
She's like this badass army sergeant, or not. It's like a UN force, and she's like the captain or whatever the hell she is, and it's just funny because it starts with her group, and she's like, "All right, ladies, let's go." And like one of the people under her command is like, "She's a girl, and she says ladies," or like something like that.
Really?
To really like hang a lampshade on it. I'm like, all right, okay. And that's like the extent of her character development.
Sure.
And so she and her team, through this portal, they end up in the other world, and they're fighting monsters and whatever. And T.I. is in it for like a minute, which is weird. Ron Perlman shows up. Huh. Yeah, that's it. It's Tony Jaa is in it. He's the monster hunter.
V, capital T?
He's like the guy, right?
Okay.
And so I'm like, well, why aren't we following him?
Yeah, right.
So what it reminded me, and this is going to be such a deep cut. Like I didn't even do this in my review because I was like, nobody's going to know what I'm talking about, and I'm just going to do it here because this is the show and this is what we do. There's this series of books about this British like World War I pilot named Biggles. Okay, and it's about this guy, and his name is like Harold Bigglesworth or something like that, but he's called Biggles, and he's like this badass, and it's a whole series of books. Okay. So in the 80s, they decided to make a movie about Biggles because it's a very successful series of books. Okay. And it's going to be all about Biggles. And at the same time this movie is being developed, and this is absolutely true, Brian, the movie Back to the Future becomes a hit. Okay. So the money people are like, can we incorporate time travel into this?
This is so like a, yeah.
Yeah.
Like a sketch about Hollywood.
And this is actually God's honest truth. This is what happened. And so they were like, okay. And so they did. And so the movie Biggles is set in modern day New York, where this like ad executive gets zapped by lightning, and he gets sent back in time, and he bumps into Biggles. Okay. And Biggles is like, jolly pip pip. And then like the guy keeps like bouncing back and forth in time, bumping into Biggles. Okay. Which may have been the original title, Bumping into Biggles. I don't know.
It should have been.
Should have been. And so you watch this movie, and the movie is just called Biggles. Mm-hmm. And so you watch this, and you're like, well, I don't care about ad executive guy in now.
Wait, yeah, so he's the protagonist, and this is a person he just keeps bumping into?
Yes.
Okay.
So... weirdly, I'm watching Monster Hunter and am reminded of Biggles, this movie that I saw 30 years ago on TV in Saudi Arabia, and it just lay dormant in my brain pan for this moment.
Right. It was all leading to this.
Yeah. And it's such a weirdly specific like mental connection I drew. I was like, I can't put this in my review because nobody's going to know what I'm talking about.
I'm so glad you could lay it to tape here.
This is what this show's about, right, Brian?
Yeah.
So that was Monster Hunter to me, where I'm like, I don't care about Mila Jovovich and all this and whatever, you know?
Mm-hmm,
Like, and you know, you have like, well, she's she's training to become the Monster Hunter, and I'm like, maybe, I guess, I don't know. She's not an interesting character. This guy is, because he's like living this and doing this, you know?
right.
And then, and the characters, you know, they don't speak the same language, right? Obviously, Tony Jaa is speaking Monster Hunter land language.
Okay.
And so him and Mila Jovovich,
yeah.
they're trying to like communicate, and it's all like grunts and whatever.
Okay.
And then like an hour in, Ron Perlman shows up.
Okay.
And he might as well just be Ron Perlman, you know?
Right.
He's like, hey, what's up? Like, basically, you know?
Right.
And she's like, hey, you speak English? He's like, yeah, I learned it, and you guys suck. Like, it's...
You guys suck. Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
You suck. Yes.
And so you're like, okay, well, why not introduce this guy half an hour ago?
Right.
So we don't have to deal with all this. And then, you know, you're like, whatever, I don't care, it sucks. And then most egregious of all, it ends with the dreaded sequel setup.
Right.
Like the mid-credit sequel setup. And I'm like, you arrogant sons of bitches. So it sucks. It's terrible. Don't watch it.
All right. No, I'm sorry you had to watch it.
Yeah, it's. I'll tell you one cool thing though is I wrote this for IGN, and this was seriously one of those things where, you know, my editor at IGN, like, you know, he messages me maybe like Wednesday afternoon. He's like, hey, can you watch Monster Hunter for us? I'm like, yeah, that's fine. He's like, can you get it to me by 8 a.m. tomorrow? And I'm like, that's fine.
Yeah.
So like I had to watch it like after the kids go to bed. I'm like watching it on my tablet, you know, trying to get through it. But the cool thing is they made a video review out of it.
Yeah, you sent me this. This was so wild. Yeah, why don't you explain?
So IGN does like if you go to YouTube, they have video reviews, and you know I guess I just never thought about it, but
yeah,
you know, obviously those reviews are, you know, built off of some pre-existing content, and so in the case of Monster Hunter, it was my review.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, it's like a 4-minute video, whatever, of a narrator speaking over clips of the film, and just it's reading my review.
Yeah, was that crazy? I mean, yeah, he had a great narrator's voice, and whenever you watch those things, I just assume that's their review.
Yeah,
right. But was it weird hearing your thoughts?
It very much so. It was what I imagine like a speechwriter must feel, you know?
Oh, right. Yeah. That's a good analogy. Yeah. I was thinking more because of course I was. The Simpsons where Bart's on the witness stand and Steve Allen is doing his voice to disguise it, you know?
Or you could go in that direction. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. So not a very good movie, unfortunately.
That's too bad. But I enjoyed hearing you talk about it, so thank you for watching it.
And you learned a little bit about Biggles, so you're welcome.
I didn't even know that existed.
But isn't that just something? Like, it's this book series about this World War I flying ace. Let's add time travel in, because that seems to be the thing that people like.
I just love it, too, because it's the thing that was popular as of, like, a month ago.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's not like... I don't know. Star Wars has been captured the public's imagination for 20 years. Like, wouldn't it be interesting if maybe we put space into it? Or, you know, it's like, this was really popular this morning. My kid, you know, saw it. And so let's just make this movie all of a sudden have a talking dog in it. You know?
Like, if they made the movie 5 years later, dinosaurs would have been in it.
Right.
You know?
Hilarious.
And then real quick, I have continued my NYPD Blue rewatch.
Oh, yeah. Where are you at now? Which season?
I'm up to the 4th season.
Wow.
So
how many seasons does it have?
12 seasons.
Wow. Okay. All right.
And that's been fun. It's you know, it's basically brand new for my wife, but it's funny because like my oldest kid, sometimes he'll wander down and he ends up watching it with us, and he happens usually to wander in right when just somebody's naked ass is just hanging out. Right. And it's like, all right, let's just skip past that. But it's funny because my wife is like, I don't know, should he be watching this? And I'm like, he's like the exact same age I was when I was watching this show. which is weird. Like,
Right. Actually, before you even mentioned that, I was thinking the same thing. I thought, wow, I bet that's how old you were when it aired, and how crazy now your son is wandering down. You know what I mean? Like, it could have been your parents watching it and you.
It's weird, yeah. I mean, and I just watched it just cause like that was the thing people were talking about, so I just gravitated towards it. Mm-hmm. But it holds up, It holds up. It's quality stuff. So I'll keep you posted on that.
Yeah, that's great. I've had so many things recommended to me that I have to watch. Chief among them is Ted Lasso.
Oh, dude, I need to watch that.
I mean, I have. It's just so many people highly praising that show and telling me I would love it. I can't remember the last time that's happened. So I think this week I'm going to try to start it, but I'm really excited to check that out.
That seems entirely up my alley. Like, I know I will probably enjoy it.
Yeah, everyone keeps saying what a sweet show it is, and just I mean everything. It's like, you're gonna love it. It has so much heart, and I'm like, well, that sounds wonderful. So, and it's funny because I don't have Apple TV, but I'm like, all right, like this. I mean, that was the trick, right? I mean, Netflix has just wells and wells of content, right?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna keep Netflix for who knows how long, and Disney Plus and whatever. But Apple, it was having a hard time convincing me I should pay an amount of money a month for it with what they had to offer. But this is the first one. I'm like, okay, I want to see this show. I'm going to pay for it. So
it's my wife watched on Apple TV Plus. She watched The Morning Show, and she really liked that.
Oh, okay.
It was interesting because that was sort of hyped up as like starring Steve Carell, and he's not. He's like a recurring character.
Right. He's kind of the inciting incident, right?
Correct. Yeah. But yeah, my wife really liked that. Steve Carell, of course, is busy with the Space Force.
That's right. Wow, there's so many shows now.
Right?
I don't even. Yeah.
Space Force, which, by the way, I think we talked about this. There was a story that broke about the real Space Force.
Right. Yes.
Where this guy got like demoted or something because instead of going to his job at Space Force, he went to get a PlayStation 5.
That's right. Yeah, you sent me that. Which sounds like an episode.
Sounds like an episode.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, let's take a little break, and we can talk through some of the other things we've seen that require more spoilerific elucidation. Which sounds like a painful medical condition, to be honest. And we are back, and before we even get into some of our spoiler conversation, I just wanted to take a moment to mention the passing of Dawn Wells.
Yeah,
Dawn Wells,
Marianne from Gilligan's Island,
a.k.a. Marianne, and it tells you something about the fact that she was 82 years old, by the way, and unfortunately she passed away from due to COVID. Mm-hmm. But I was thinking about the fact that she's somebody who, I mean, let's be honest, like, that's the thing she's known for.
Oh, sure.
Right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, and that kind of, it sucks in the sense that she was typecast. Right? But the upside is, look at the fact that this many decades later, she passes away, and so many people are so sad that Marianne from Gilligan's Island passed away.
I see this a lot with actors where they wrestle with that, and some feel one way, some feel the other. But some would say, it's a bummer to do this thing, and then that's what you're known for the rest of your life. On the other hand, what a privilege to do something that everyone thinks about for the rest of your life.
Right.
Yeah. And with her specifically, I remember growing up, I mean, Gilligan's Island was one of those things you'd come home from school and the reruns would be on, and everybody knew what Gilligan's Island was, right? I mean, I think people were still making jokes about it, just that people would understand in 80s, 90s, whatever. And then as I got a little older, I think I watched a behind the scenes thing about it, and it only aired for like 2 or 3 seasons.
3 seasons. Yeah,
it was kind of but a blip when it happened, and it was not even well received. I mean, it was like, what is this goofy show?
Yeah.
But then for it to last in people's consciousness, and I think of it fondly all these years later. I wasn't even there when it first aired. It's just kind of amazing. Like, you can't choose when that's going to happen to certain things, but there's something about that show that it never went away. It's kind of amazing.
We've talked about this before, but it is worth reiterating how that what you just described, like, oh well, it airs weekday afternoons, so I watch it. Like that aspect of TV reruns was like the glue that held together several generations.
Yes. Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
Right. And it makes me sad that is lost now.
Yeah. Like the kids aren't going to pull up the Brady Bunch.
That's what I'm saying. Right.
Yeah.
Like I watch Gilligan's Island occasionally with my kids.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're aware of it because they have a mutant freak show of a dad who wants that to be part of their cultural vernacular, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, they laugh. They think it's funny, right?
Right.
So it still holds up. But, I mean, it does. Again, it makes me sad. Not angry, but sad that it's like, I watch my favorite thing to watch is random YouTube channel of this. Oh, well, I watch this streaming series here, and everybody has their thing, and there's nothing that's joining us together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Pop culture references and things like that,
Yeah, when you see, about cultural vernacular, I mean, we can name all the people on the island.
That's right.
It's like I just like having it in my head for whatever reason.
We know the song, and
yeah,
I'm fairly certain that people who are younger than a certain age would not know the song.
Yeah, right.
I
think, and it's Emily Dickinson, right? A lot of her poetry is to that meter, so you can read her poetry to the meter of the
Really?
Gilligan's Island song. Again, it's so whatever, but I like knowing that.
That is hilarious.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's really funny.
Yeah.
I pulled up this thing about Emily Dickinson and Gilligan's Island.
Yeah.
And I'll be damned. You're absolutely right.
Isn't it insane?
That's really funny. To celebrate Emily Dickinson's birthday by singing her poems to the Gilligan's Island theme song.
Oh. I remember picking up a book of hers and just doing it. I was like, wow, I'll be damned.
Because I could not stop for death, he kindly stopped for me. The carriage held but just ourselves and immortality.
Is that crazy?
We slowly drove, he knew how haste, and I had put away. Okay, I need to stop. That's really funny. But Dawn Wells, people say, if you're a has-been, that sucks. But obviously, the alternative to being a has-been is being a never was.
Mm-hmm.
And in the case of Dawn Wells, I mean, again, she was forever. She was a beloved person right up until she died. So that says something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we've watched a bunch of stuff, and I guess now's the time to talk through it, right?
Yeah, this is our December catch-up. These are all three major things, too, so.
It's we were talking about this before we got on, that it's like, oh, did we not talk about that? And it just the stuff that happened just in the interim between our last recording and now feels like 5 million years ago.
I know, it's crazy.
And it's weird because you'd think that, because of sort of entertainment having slowed down a little bit, mm-hmm. it would hang in the ether a little bit longer.
Yeah, and that's a good. I guess you can always count on that, right? Everything being at the speed of.
So, yeah. So let's start with the Mandalorian season finale.
Yeah, which before we got on mic, I couldn't believe we hadn't talked about yet.
Now this one, this was the season finale. Which, if you listen to this show, and you're a fan of Mandalorian, I'm assuming you've seen it already. So I don't feel compelled to have a spoiler warning here. What do you think, Brian?
Let's say this. We're just going to dive right in because we're talking literally about the finale of the show and not the series as a whole.
Yes.
And I will go to future Brian right here, who will tell you when you can skip ahead if you want to get to the next thing we talk about. How about that?
There you go.
Take it away, future Brian. Thanks, past Brian. To skip ahead of Mandalorian spoilers, jump ahead to about 1 hour, 7 minutes, and 34 seconds.
So the final episode, It's funny because I had to write a review for the Chronicle.
Mm-hmm. I haven't read that yet. I want to read that.
It's like whatever.
I read all your stuff, Zachy.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you. That's very nice of you. But that was one of those things where they told me, they're like, we need you to like watch the episode the day that it drops and like get us something by, I think it was like noon.
Wow.
So I had to, wake up early and watch the thing. But what's interesting is for the entirety of the season, honestly, I had not worried that much about spoilers.
Mm-hmm. Right, sure.
Because I would just watch it when I got to it, and I'm like, if I want to use social media in any way, it's going to get ruined for me. Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to worry too much about it.
Right.
For whatever reason, for the last episode, I was like, I want it to be completely fresh.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, 8 a.m., I woke up, I stayed off of Twitter, and I just watched it. And obviously, given the way the episode ends, that was the perfect way to watch that episode.
I had a sort of similar story where I wasn't able to see it the day it came out, and I knew I was going to have to wait a couple days because just with my family, and they actually wanted to see it, so I caught them up on the previous 2 episodes leading up to it. Mm-hmm. And it was people just absolutely losing their minds.
Yep.
Online, and I was like, oh man, like it was creating these unrealistic expectations for me. And I was like, okay, just stop. You got to stop.
I remember, Brian, I texted you and I was like, I think you should stay off of social media until you see it.
Yes. Yes. And I mercifully, no one spoiled it, which was great. But it was like, what could possibly live up to this? So it became like that. And so then when I started, I was like, what's it going to be? It was kind of this cool excitement. But
so I think the whole episode was very good.
Yeah.
But obviously, it's a little bit like Rogue One, where the only thing people are going to talk about and probably revisit is the last, 10 minutes of it,
Right. Yeah.
Right? The build-up of the entire season ended up being that, earlier when, Baby Yoda, Grogu, goes to... First, Ahsoka is like, I can't train him, but maybe take him to this place, he'll contact a Jedi. She's like, so he does. Mm-hmm. And you're like, who's he gonna contact? Mm-hmm. And me personally, it was not really front and center in my thinking that Luke was a serious option.
Yeah, I did. When I was watching the episode, for some reason I thought it could be him, and I don't remember what tipped me off, if it was something in an episode or if it was something someone said online. But I was sort of like, no, could it? Like, I had that feeling.
For me, I mean, once we see an X-Wing...
Yes, yeah.
I was like, okay, well, that's Luke then. Yeah. I was like 87% certain it was Luke.
That's perfect. That's a perfect number, yeah.
Right? And for honestly, the fun thing for me, it was, I had my suspicions, but I was watching my kids as they slowly realized,
yeah.
Once you see the gloved hand, once you see the green lightsaber, you're like, all right, obviously we know who that is.
Yeah.
And then it's just a matter of him showing up. And man, this was like one moment where it seems like Star Wars fandom forgot it's just like general shittiness.
It feels like every now and then something punches through and unites everyone.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, Grogu, I guess a year ago, right? Everyone just absolutely fell in love with him, and for the most part, I think the show. But yeah, it was really cool seeing everyone collectively just lose their minds.
And it's funny because I don't know, you can get into like Uncanny Valley critiques and whatever. Yeah. Maybe I'm just like, I don't want to do that.
I had the same feeling. There was like one moment where I thought, oh yeah, it looks a little whatever, but I was like, no. It's not about that. It's about what's happening.
Yeah.
And like, I love that this is happening. And, I was going to bring this up, I think, for Wonder Woman later, but I complain sometimes about lacking visual effects. But then I think about the movies we grew up with, and you watch like Temple of Doom or something, and there's like a really janky matte painting or something.
Right.
And it's like, it's always been there, just in different forms. But we grew up with that when we were kids, and we're like, it looks weird, but it looks awesome. Right? And it just is what it is. And yeah. I'm trying as a whole to just not let that be a criticism against a film unless it's egregiously awful.
It's funny because one thing I've seen a lot of is, obviously the crowd that does not, that actively dislikes the sequels, or like, oh, this is Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, like this is their
correction.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're undoing the sequels, and I'm like, how do you figure? Because it's still going to end up there.
Yeah.
Right. So this is just part of that journey, right?
Yeah.
And my other thought is like, can we just not can everything not be an attack on the other thing?
Right. Let's talk about this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just this great moment. Obviously, they brought back Mark Hamill to do the voice. Mm-hmm. Right. And he even tweeted, he said, sometimes the greatest gifts are the most unexpected and something you never realized you wanted until it was given. And that's kind of nice, because I'm sure Mark Hamill, packed up his Luke wig or whatever after Rise of Skywalker. And he's like, all right, well, that was fun.
Uh-huh.
And that's it, Right. And then this little thing happens. I mean, the question is there room for more? Like, do you think they intend to do more with Luke in this era?
I don't know. I can imagine a version where they don't. Like, this just was like an awesome season finale sort of thing. But I've heard other people say, well, how do you introduce this and not do more with it? So I who knows? Expect the unexpected with this show. I mean, did we think we were going to get Boba Fett? And not only that, but an announcement of a Boba Fett show.
Another spinoff.
Yeah. But yeah, the just going back to the episode itself and how it unfolded. I mean, it was just a really awesome episode, right?
Yeah,
like,
really
we got to go rescue Grogu and taking over one of those shuttles, that we'd seen in Jedi, which is such a cool looking ship. And we get the whole, Alderaan reference. And
yeah, right.
What's her name? Carano?
Cara Dune.
Cara Dune. Just sort of, when they make the joke about, there are people on Death Star, and she's like, which one?
Right.
I love that sort of in-world sort of stuff that we can sort of chuckle at and be like, I know, because I've been thinking about this for 40 years. But then, going in there and Grogu in the tiniest, cutest little handcuffs I've ever seen. What did you think about that when they put him on him? I was like, where did they have those?
I know. Just keep him handy,
Yeah. But then, you have those sort of death trooper things. I can't remember if that's what they were called, but they're just completely robotic. They remind me of Maximilian almost from the Black Hole.
Yeah, from the Black Hole. See, that's a Biggles-esque deep cut reference. So.
Yeah.
Good job.
But it was awesome because you see Din squaring off with one, and it's really hard, right?
Yes.
Like, he's got his Beskar spear, and they're fighting. And that was a really awesome fight. I think, right? Like, he's holding against it, and then he's like, the robot's like pushing him, and it's carving through the wall, pushing him back. And I was like, this is awesome. But then
I like Brian. What I like is, number one, the fight scene between Din and the Dark Troopers establishes, one, how tough they are to defeat, and also what a badass he is, right? And it also, that ends up accentuating what Luke does at the end.
That's exactly where I was headed with it, because it was hard enough against one, right?
Yeah.
And he uses his ingenuity to get rid of the others, but then of course they come back, and you're like, well, if he can't barely take care of one, what are we going to do? Yeah. And you bring in the most badass person in the galaxy.
Yep.
And you just watch him mop the floor up with him, and it was just like, I don't know. I don't even know what my face looked like when that was happening. But it was, I didn't actually think about it when I was watching it, but I've seen other people point out that it reminded them of Vader in Rogue One.
Oh, totally, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, even the sort of the cloaked dark figure at the end of the hall, and then the lightsaber, bzzz, being ignited.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's an absolute parallel. I think, you can't help but think of that to some extent,
Yeah.
Even if only in hindsight, it's like there's a nice parallelism being established there. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I mean, I think one critique I've seen is, it makes the galaxy smaller. Because, here's Luke Skywalker. What are the odds, right?
Well, I mean, I totally get it. And there's probably a period where I would have even had that same sort of feeling. Like, Luke talks about Tatooine being, if there's anything going on in the galaxy, this is the planet it's furthest from.
Yeah, and yet everything happens there.
Yeah, it's like the most important planet in the galaxy. But you know what? It's fiction. You know what I mean? Like, this is what I want to see, and if you can make me enjoy what's being presented in front of me, then I can't be mad at it. And again, I bet I probably wouldn't have said that 20 years ago when we were talking about the prequels, but time, and just enjoying what I want to enjoy.
Time brings the chill, Brian.
Time brings the chill. It's absolutely true. And I got to say too, I thought it worked well in the narrative of the show. I mean, he went to that seeing stone, called, Luke heard the call, comes out to get him. And it wasn't, the show didn't all of a sudden, it wasn't that I didn't care about anything else that was going on after that. I got really sad when Din, took his helmet off and had tears in his eyes and said goodbye.
It's a great moment.
Worked. Yeah, I thought the whole thing brought it together in a really well-woven moment that served the show, right?
Yeah, totally agree.
And it was also like cool because I'm like, oh, well, he's in good hands, right? And seeing R2 and Grogu look at each other delighted me to no end.
Cut to Kylo Ren massacring all the Padawans.
Right.
Oh, right.
Right.
Oops.
Yeah. Oh no.
But yeah, the episode ends. We go to credits. And by the way, the end credits were interesting because it was like, this is the end of a movie kind of credits,
Wait, how do you mean?
In the sense that it was markedly different from the closing credits of the rest of the season.
Oh, right, because it didn't have the storyboards or whatever it is.
Yeah, and the music was different too.
Right.
So it's almost like, this is Mandalorian episode 1, so to speak, like the first 2 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
And then whatever happens next is going to be something entirely different,
Right.
But they go full MCU, where after the credits we see Boba Fett shows up at Jabba's palace, and there's Bib Fortuna,
sitting on the throne,
and Boba Fett just kills him and takes over, and then we're like, the Book of Boba Fett, that's coming next year.
Yep.
And I'll tell you something, if you had told me 6 months ago that they were doing a Boba Fett show, I'd have been like, I do not care.
Right.
And now I'm like, plug it into my veins.
Yep.
Right?
Absolutely. Yeah, same with you. I think when the sequels were coming out, I was like, let's not overdo it. Let's just, they had so much on their plate and I didn't want to get oversaturated with it. But now I'm like, oh, give me one each month.
Yeah. I mean, it's really interesting because I see just the nasty divisiveness in Star Wars fandom.
Mm-hmm.
And this isn't anything new. I say this to you all the time. I'm like, why live your life that way?
Right.
Of being like, I hate this and yeah. And that's your identity, is like what you hate.
Right.
I saw on Twitter, somebody I followed, Tim Geraci, he talking about Revenge of the Sith. He says, no other Star Wars movie leaves me with that special feeling quite like Revenge of the Sith does every time I watch it. Right? And I read that, and I'm like, isn't it cool that whichever Star Wars movie you're talking about, you can find somebody to say that about that.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter which one.
Yeah. And I want to add, too, that it doesn't mean that I'm not still passionate about this world. Because I am, and I care about it. And if they mess it up, I'm not going to be happy.
Sure.
But I think...
But you won't focus on what you don't like.
What's that?
You won't, live in that place where you're just,
that, certainly not. But also, I think I've gotten used to the idea of, this is what it is now. There's going to be a lot of it.
That's it, man.
So you get a little acclimated, right? When all we had, you and I, had just 3 movies for a really long time.
Yeah.
And that's just not what it is anymore. So, okay, great.
It's this
some
thing.
things out. I've enjoyed a lot of it, and I'm into it. I want to keep enjoying the thing I enjoy.
And if you end up not enjoying it, you'll say, all right, well, that one is not for me. I'll find this other flavor that I like
On to the
better.
next one.
There you go. So good ending to season 2 of The Mandalorian.
And I do wonder, how do you go forward without Din and Grogu. I mean, that's the show we've known since episode 1. It does. I don't know what you do. I sure they'll think of something, but I also really loved that dynamic.
Well, here's something interesting, Brian. Because obviously they announced just this sampler's platter of all these different Star Wars shows, right? Mm-hmm. And you got Mandalorian, you got Ahsoka, you got the Book of Boba Fett, and you got Rangers of the New Republic. Mm-hmm. All 4 of those are set in this era.
Right.
So to me, and I don't know what their plans are, but it seems to me that lends to the idea of an overarching, interwoven story.
Right.
You know,
dip in and out of each other's.
Yeah,
adventures.
And maybe not overtly, but certainly in ways that if you're watching all of it, there's sort of a meta narrative that's being served. Mm-hmm. Like that's kind of interesting to me.
Yeah,
because
I'm into it.
Because this is the era that hasn't been delved into at all.
Yeah, and personally speaking, it's closest to the era I hold most dear to my heart. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and I mean, because the Andor show is set in roughly the same period as the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. Mm-hmm. So it seems to me that lends to the idea of, well, here, let's flesh out this pre A New Hope era. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's kind of cool what they're doing, right? They're doing their own kind of multiverse, if you will.
Yeah.
Except it's multi-timelines, it's this era and this era, and they're doing like the High Republic era, which is whatever, like 500 years before before Phantom Menace. Mm-hmm. To me, that's fun. I'm like, well, this is what intrigues me, is the ability to, you've got this big tapestry.
Yeah.
And you just start filling it in,
Yeah.
We've spoken on this show, what feels like ad infinitum, where I'm like, the Clone Wars TV show makes the prequels better. Mm-hmm. So it stands to reason that you can generate a lot of new content that, if you're unhappy with the sequels,
right,
it can make those movies better.
Right, it can build them out a bit more.
Yeah, I said this. I think I said this on Twitter, where I'm like, The Mandalorian has given us a lot of world building, which was completely absent in the sequels. Mm-hmm. Right, in that Return of the Jedi ends, and you're like, yay, biggest victory ever, and then we're like 30 years later, nope, everything still sucks. How did that happen? I don't know.
Right,
it just did. Right.
Right.
And that was always my beef with those movies, which I've said before. I'm like fine with them ultimately, but you got to fill in the gaps. Mm-hmm. And instead, I mean, a perfect metaphor for the sequels is where Maz Kanata has Luke's lightsaber.
Yeah.
And Han is like, "Where'd you get that?" And she's like, "A story for another time."
Yeah.
Which they never tell us.
Yeah. I think she even says a good question, like a good question for another time.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, that really that sums it all up.
That is the perfect metaphor for that entire trilogy, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, well, maybe we start filling in these gaps, and then it makes those movies hold up a little better, because, again, the prequels by themselves are not fantastic, but the Clone Wars make them better. Mm-hmm. Fire made it good.
Well, I'm glad we both enjoyed that.
Yeah, well, I knew. Like, I knew we were going to land at roughly the same place when it comes to The Mandalorian. Mm-hmm. What I don't know where we'll land in the same place, whether we will or not, is our next movie. So let's take a little break and talk about Tenet. Alrighty, so we are back, and Tenet is available to own on home video, and so you and I both finally got around to watching it. Mm-hmm. There was a window there where it was playing in theaters, and theaters here were open, so I was planning to see it. And
right, yes, you mentioned that, yeah.
And then theaters closed again, so I was like,
shut right down.
So this is one of the year's biggest hits and biggest flops.
Yeah.
Which just feels like a very Christopher Nolan place to end up, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Right? Because in terms of money made, I think it made something like $350 million, something like that.
Yeah, worldwide, yeah.
Which is like, I mean, that's not bad, especially given the pandemic year where movies just weren't making anything. But of course, it cost like $250 million.
Yeah.
So it would have needed to make substantially more than what it did.
Yeah, probably. I'm assuming somewhere around 600 or something.
So to me, there is nothing that sums up the pure hubristic excess of Christopher Nolan. Nothing sums it up more than making a movie where your protagonist is called the protagonist.
Right.
I mean, Christopher Nolan's basically been like, yeah, that's how that shit goes. What do you think of that?
Right.
Right. Okay.
I'm so excited. I didn't realize I was going to be excited about this, but I can't wait to hear.
Here's what I'm going to say about Tenet. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I don't think it's like one of the best movies of the year. I don't even think it's Christopher Nolan's best.
Mm-hmm.
But I had fun with it, and when it was done, I was like, all right.
Yeah.
That was nice. And
I would say same. I halfway through, I was like, I think I hate this. And I was like, this is the feeling I had afterwards. Inception, I think, is the peak Nolan.
Yes.
Because he loves these crazy, huge ideas that are really complicated, and he has to explain them to you, but he also wants to kind of yank you by the arm and pull you along. And if you don't know exactly what's happening, he's like, you'll get it. Just keep going. and that movie's nuts.
Yeah.
I mean, the dream worlds, there's different levels of the dream worlds, and you need a kick to get out of it. And then once you kick that, they're not even back in reality. They're in another dream world. But somehow he managed to make it entirely understandable.
By the skin of his teeth, he holds it all together.
But by the skin of his teeth, but he did it.
Yeah.
In my opinion,
I agree. Yeah.
And also, DiCaprio, as vague as his wants are, they are entirely understandable. And if they didn't happen at the end, I think the whole sort of thing at the end where it's a little ambiguous about what's really happening right down to the last second of that film, and everyone gasping and either loving it or hating it, proves that we cared. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I think this movie, he did a huge swing again, but I think he didn't figure out the heart of it all, even though I think he would argue that it's the Elizabeth Debicki character and her son. But I don't think it comes close to anything that we actually think about or care about.
So Brian, the thought that I had after I watched, I was like, and stay with me on this.
Yeah.
Inception is to Batman Forever.
Wait. Okay, wait. It's okay.
Inception is to Batman Forever what Tenet is to Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
And that's not meant as an insulting as it may sound like. What I mean is, it's trying to take the same mix of ingredients roughly, and being like, that worked here.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go even bigger here with roughly the same mix. But
now I better understand what you were saying. I thought I got it, and now I totally get it. Yes. Yeah, but the thing is, it's such like a weird, almost paradox, I guess, ironically, in that it's almost impenetrable in some ways, but I really enjoyed watching it.
Yeah. Well, I think that just speaks to, I think Christopher Nolan, just as a filmmaker, is going to make movies that I enjoy watching.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, so in many ways, it still left me kind of confused, and I do feel it's kind of a cold movie. The protagonist doesn't have a lot of personality.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we don't know if he's... maybe once or twice he goes, whoa. You know what I mean? But, like, is he cool with this? Is he passionate about it? Like, he just kind of goes with everything, you know? So I think the movie requires a lot of you wanting to invest in this, a lot of patience, a lot of listening skills. But it is a really visually awesome magic trick.
Yes.
And so by the end of it, I was like, well, I didn't regret watching it at all. And I'd even say that I liked it, but I also completely recognized that I am measuring it against Nolan himself and his work and not just any other film.
But here's my question.
Yeah.
Does measuring it against Nolan make people go easier on it or harder on it?
That's a really good question. I pulled this quote because I thought it was really apt from A.A. Dowd at the AV Club. And he said, Tenet is the movie Christopher Nolan's critics have been accusing him of making all along. It's a shiny clock, right? It's a shiny clockwork contraption with a hollow center. A convoluted Rubik's Cube blockbuster that, once solved, reveals little more than the complexity of its own design. So, how does that make you feel? Right? That's kind of the test.
See, so that's actually really, that's interesting because I think using Inception as a point of comparison, like the movie ends and you're like, whew, wow. And you're like sort of pondering like your own place in reality.
Right.
And I think this movie ends, and just echoing what Anthony Dowd said there, you're more like, okay, I get it, or you're like, I don't get it, but it doesn't delve into sort of a deeper conversation with yourself, because that's not, it's more, it's about the gimmick.
Yes.
Right. And the gimmick, you're talking about the time gimmick. And to me, it's like you either buy it or you don't.
Right.
Right. And I watched it with my kids, and by the end, we're like, okay, so he's inverted. He's not. Okay. So that's happening. And you just kind of, you're either, and as I was watching, I was like, I know that X number of people are going to be like, this makes not even one lick of sense.
Right.
But I'm like, if I buy the whole dream concept of dreams within dreams,
right.
How is this any different? It's just the gimmick of this movie.
Although I kind of like I said, I was invested in DiCaprio's turmoil.
Yes. So to that point, the way Cobb, DiCaprio's character, is the Nolan avatar in Inception. I think in Tenet, Robert Pattinson is the Nolan avatar. And so in my opinion, I found him more interesting.
Yeah.
And I was like, who is this guy? Right.
Yeah.
And that, by the way, is what makes the payoff with his character work. Mm-hmm. Because he is the most interesting character in the movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's funny because, again, I feel like there's like two satisfactions for this movie for audiences. Like either you have to be satisfied by the characters and what happens and what they're going through and what they need to stop, and that requires a lot of investment. Right? Because at the end, I mean, just like Inception, there's a huge battle with a lot of grunts and guns going on that just makes no sense. Like, I don't know what they're doing. Yeah. Right? But it looks awesome. So I think I just sort of said the second satisfaction. Or you just think, man, this is kind of nuts, and I wish, there's like a little thing interaction that the protagonists and Robert Pattinson have at the end that just injects a ton of heart into the movie all of a sudden, out of nowhere, with 2 minutes left. And that's pretty cool. But like, I wish there had been a little bit more of that tease throughout to lead up to that. There's like one moment in the beginning. Yes, that's right. Yeah. But at the same time, when the movie folds on itself in the middle, I was like, oh, right? And I enjoyed just the magic trick of it all. Yeah. So that's why I would say that I do think it's ultimately a really cool movie, but I would also put it at sort of somewhere in the middle of his movies, where I think agree. If he had cared to add a bit more character and pathos and whatever to it, it could have been as good as Inception. But as it stands, personally, I would have desired a little bit more of that, but I still think it's totally worth putting in front of your eyeballs.
I agree. Well, one thought I had is with Inception, the big conversation that was being had is the whole movie a dream, People going back and forth, is it? And there's all the people have their theories, valid on both sides. And with this, the conversation that I've been seeing is, oh, is the little boy, Max, is that Neil?
Yes.
Right? And to me, I'm like, I mean, I can see both sides, but ultimately, it doesn't matter. Right? And that to me is the distinction, right?
Right.
It's like a cute conversation to have, I guess, but it fundamentally doesn't change the trajectory of the movie.
Right.
And I think that just says something about what, not necessarily what he set out to accomplish, but what he does accomplish with it, which is kind of, it's just about whether you enjoy this kind of a clockwork thing, no pun intended, play out, you know?
Yeah, agreed.
I was telling somebody else that this, to me, is very much, you know how people have talked about Nolan doing a James Bond movie? This, to me, is as close as he's gotten to a James Bond movie.
And I kind of like it because he doesn't, this is what he thinks of. He thinks of these crazy, weird sci-fi things in our world, sort of grounded, so to speak. And so I almost prefer it, I think, that he would do this James Bondy stuff, but add his own sort of craziness to it.
Yeah.
Right?
What did you think of John David Washington in the movie?
You know, he grew on me. At first, it was, like I was saying earlier, I mean, he was just sort of flat and just sort of lets all these wild things happen to him, and he doesn't seem to react. And I think, does he even want to be a part of this? Like, is there a moment where he wishes he could unknow this almost? And or, like, what's his motivation? And what? But then there's something kind of cool about him being cool and collected, and just maybe that's just who he is. Like, I don't know what his past was. I don't know where he comes from. You know, it's more of a script thing than I think it is a John David Washington thing. But he does have this line I absolutely loved where Branagh's like, "How do you want to die?" And he's like, "Old." I was like, that's fantastic.
That, I mean, so much of, you know, there's the sequence early in the film when he goes to meet with Elizabeth Debicki, who, by the way, I'm a big fan of Elizabeth Debicki. I've liked her.
She's fantastic in Widows. If people haven't seen that, another heist movie.
I need to. That's with Elizabeth Moss, right? Or am I thinking of? There's like two that were. That's okay. There were two similar.
No, not that one.
Yes. Okay, I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, I think. I now I sound so. I'm recommending it and sound like I don't know what I'm talking about. But I think Steve McQueen did that, right? Yeah, Steve McQueen, Viola Davis,
Liam Neeson is in it.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. I've heard that.
It's not, when I say it's a heist movie, it's not, certainly not like an Ocean's movie. It's a little bit more like a realistic heist movie where a lot of time is spent like, well, how much does money weigh? You know, and like, how can we carry these bags? And it's a lot of interpersonal drama, and it's kind of gritty, but like, I loved it. I was surprised it just kind of came and went.
I need to check that out.
Yeah, but she's fantastic.
She's great and everything, but I think it took this movie for me to realize how tall she is.
Right, yeah.
Because she just towers over, like, the men in the cast.
I think she's like 6'3" or something.
It's ridiculous. Because she's like steering the car from the back seat, you know?
I was going to say, I was like, thank God for it, because then at one point it saves her life that she can reach the steering wheel from the back seat. Yeah.
Yeah, and one last thing I'll mention is the moment you talk about where the movie folds back on itself is the fight scene in the airport.
Oh, that was so rad! Yeah,
tell me that wasn't, again. It's Nolan trying to do the zero gravity fight in Inception, right? It's like,
actually, I didn't think about it, but yeah,
it's like him riffing on himself but doing something a little different.
Yeah, and it's funny too because when you think about it, I mean, David Lynch has been doing this for decades, just reversing the film,
right?
But it's not crazy, right? But at the same time, it's not a rotating room. But at the same time, it's just so cool.
It is.
He comes up with the interesting things to do it, where he's got a wound on his arm, and what does that mean, right? Like, well, something's gonna stab him, right?
Yeah,
you know, and catching the bullets from the window, and it's just hard not to enjoy, even though, yeah, like I said, I would have enjoyed it more maybe if I could sort of wrap my head around the feelings of everything.
Yes. But I think that's ultimately what it comes down to is I just feel like the puzzle box of Inception was just more compelling to me.
Agreed. I would agree.
And to the point that the Inception ends, and I'm like, man, I want to watch that again. And this one ends, and I'm like, I want to watch that again eventually.
I totally agree.
Right.
Totally agree. You know, it's funny too because the world is at stake in this movie.
Yeah,
but I don't feel that I ever felt it.
It feels very self-contained, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it's funny too because the plot itself, when it ended, I kind of had it on the tip of my brain, but certainly not like I did with Inception.
Yeah.
And then my brother was just like, "Oh yeah, well, you know." Actually, I won't say it here, just in case people have come this far and haven't seen it yet. But he just walked me through the whole thing. And I was like, oh, okay. He just completely got it.
So I feel like we've had our conversation without even needing to get into spoilers.
Yeah, I feel pretty good about it.
I think we're good. Okay, so let's take one more break. We'll come back and talk about Wonder Woman 1984. And we are back. And hey, Wonder Woman 1984 is in theaters, although I don't think either of us saw it in theaters.
Nope.
It was also available day and date on HBO Max on Christmas Day. So I got to watch it a couple days early because they sent me a preview screener link.
Oh, that's cool.
Kind of nice. When did you end up watching it?
Christmas Day.
Okay. Did you watch it with the whole family?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
We all like the first one, so it's funny. Our family. I mean, it's hard for us to find something that we're all going to enjoy. But yeah, we all like the first one, and we were all in agreement when it came out Christmas Day. We're like, nope, that's what we're doing tonight.
So this is another one, Brian, where the online conversations are sort of fascinating, and I feel off to one side of because people have chosen up sides.
Yeah, I just actually pulled up the IMDb page just so I could sort of see the list of characters and everything, and it has a 5 out of 10.
See,
and I'm like, oh, this is one of those things where there's kind of an assault.
It's either the greatest superhero movie since The Dark Knight, which is a real thing I've heard, or it's the worst movie of the year.
Huh.
And I look at both of those, and I'm like, I don't know what movie you saw, and I definitely don't know what movie you saw.
Yeah.
Right?
No, I entirely agree. So I guess here we go. Like we're both somewhere in the middle.
I thought honestly it ended, and I did not regret having watched it.
Yeah.
I thought it was fine. I wasn't in love with it.
Yeah. I would say the same. I didn't regret watching it, but I thought it had some definite problems.
Oh, big time! It has big issues, right? Weird issues.
That really shouldn't have been issues. Like
yes,
I've heard other people say it felt like a first draft, and I'm like, yeah, no, exactly. This is what a first draft. When people wonder why movies have 30 drafts or 10 writers, it's because first drafts are like this, where you're like, oh, this is great. We should make this. Now let's fix it.
So what I said on Twitter after watching this was Superman 2 plus Superman 3 divided by Batman Forever.
Yes.
Gets you to Wonder Woman 1984.
Which, by the way, I had not put this together at all, but I heard on Slash Filmcast, I was listening to it on the drive home, and they were saying that how much this is like Batman Returns.
Yeah, sure, and I can see that.
I was like, I did not see that at all, where it's the villains have more screen time than the hero. One of the heroes is a nebbish person who gets, pushed into being a villain and becomes a cat-like person. Yeah. The other is someone who had a rough childhood who then gets into politics. I was like, holy crap, it is Batman Returns.
It's very tropey.
Yeah.
With these types of movies. And so I'm kind of like, all right, well, if you know that going in, I think it'll make it go down a little easier. For me personally, I really like the first one.
Me too.
And I just revisited it just like hours before watching the second one. And so it reinforced for me, like they really stuck the landing.
Right.
And so for me watching the second one, it's not just like a step down, it's like a floor down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? But my ultimate takeaway was, well, I like Gal Gadot as this character. I think she has good chemistry with Chris Pine. I like the two of them together.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I was like, I think it's worth watching just to see them together again.
Yeah, I'd seen that as a criticism, saying that he wasn't even necessary.
Which I would disagree with.
I disagree also. Yeah, I think I would have polished some edges.
Yes.
With their story, but at the same time, I love seeing them together. Of course, I want him in this movie.
Yes.
I just would have tweaked a bit.
A few tweaks, which I think we can talk about once we get into spoilers.
Yeah. What I thought was interesting about this movie also was that it felt younger, didn't it? Like for like a younger audience.
Aimed younger, yeah.
Yeah, and I've seen this. I thought this while I was watching it, but then later I saw a lot of other people say this. But it reminded them of the Christopher Reeve Superman.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where it was just a lot more innocent, and the bad guys are a little more hammy, and I kind of loved that, actually. That wasn't a criticism for me. I love that there can be a movie like this that young girls can watch and really enjoy. Well, young anybody, of course, but
yes,
I didn't mind that at all. Actually, I again, it was more about polishing what was there, but what was the ingredients in it, and what it was aiming to do, I enjoyed. Does that make sense?
No, it absolutely does, and I'm with you. I think the heart was something that spoke to me. I'm jaded and cynical enough that some of the things the movie posits about what people are capable of doing, I say, well, we've lived through a year where people don't even want to wear masks.
Yeah, right.
And so when the entire Act 3 hinges on, hey, everybody on Earth, do the right thing. Right. I say that would never happen. So
right.
That's me. That's cynical Zachy.
But you know what? And I don't disagree. And then likewise, I mean, at one point it sort of requires everyone to be thinking negatively.
Yeah.
Right? And I think what I don't mind about that, even though, again, I mean, certain things could have been polished a little bit here or there, I think I don't mind it because a lot of times movies are about the end of the world and there's like a person who, like we always talk about the blue beam and the whatever. But I like that ultimately this came down to sort of a morality tale.
Yes. About
people and aspiring for more and more humanity and getting along. And I like that. And it's a comic book movie. I can deal with that. Like sure. these big ideas. You know, there's a magic wishing stone in this, for goodness sake. Like, you know what I mean? So, like, I don't mind that it's trying to be about something, and that I kind of loved, actually, that that's what the crux of the ending was about people having to sort of do the right come together to do the right thing. Yeah. That's more interesting to me than a giant thing that's going to detonate.
But here's one issue I have. The movie is set in 1984, at least based on what the title says. Why? Why is it set in 1984?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, I think if anything, the setting, to me at least, it took me out of it. Because,
oh, really?
Yeah, because I'm kind of like, we know none of this happened in 1984. And, and this is, I realize as I'm saying this sounds very picayune, but like, it's the events that we see in the film are too big to do anything but undone by the end of the movie.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure.
It's too big. And it's like we know that in terms of Wonder Woman's chronology, she has to end up in Batman versus Superman.
Right.
Which is like, quote unquote, normal present day.
Mm-hmm.
So this isn't like hidden history. It's not like X-Men First Class.
Mm-hmm.
Which is like set. This is like what really happened with the Cuban Missile Crisis, but we never saw it.
Right.
This is like, well, everybody on Earth saw this. Right. So it gets so big, at about the 2/3 point. My mind is like, well, there needs to be like a big red reset button at the end of this because we have to get back to something normal.
Right.
The other thing is, and this admittedly, maybe it's like a small critique, but to me, it gets to like, well, what are you trying to do with the movie? Is you have Maxwell Lord, who's played by Pedro Pascal, who I really liked in this movie, by the way. I thought he was great. Mm-hmm. He shows up at the White House to meet the president, who is Reagan.
I was wondering when he was there. I was like, "Who's it going to be? Is it going to be a fictional president or Reagan?" Yeah,
and I don't know who it is, because
I see what you're saying.
It's too much of a Reagan for Crazy Town, too much of a boy for It's like,
yeah, right.
It's I don't know what it is, right?
Yeah.
And here's my point. I'm like, if you said it in 1984 and you have us end up in the White House, how are you not going to have Reagan?
Right.
Right, because to me, Reagan is synonymous with that era.
Mm-hmm. It
would be like setting a movie in 2010 and you have like a white guy as the president.
Right.
Like if you're specifically setting a movie in that era, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you have a president who acts very much not like Reagan. And maybe I'm overthinking it, but I'm also like, you're setting it in this era.
Right.
You're the ones who've done that.
Right. You did this.
I mean, so obviously you want to lean into like, oh, the geopolitics of the era and the me decade and all that. And I'm like, yeah, but Reagan was a key part of all of that.
Right.
And so that's less a critique of the movie, like, oh, you suck. But I'm just like, why set it then? Because everything you're saying about the human condition, you can say right now.
Right.
And it would be just as... And you could have... If you did it right now, you could have a vaguely Trumpish character who's not really Trump, but we'd get it.
Right.
I mean, if anything, Maxwell Lord feels like a Trump pastiche.
Right. It's funny because it didn't... I don't know. I didn't think about it till I saw other people pointing it out, and I wonder if it's just because as we continue to make Wonder Woman movies and she's existed throughout the ages... then the next one will be 15 years from now. And then, just seeing her throughout eras or something. Although I don't know that, they justified or utilized the 80s as well as they could have.
That's
aside from the clothes.
Yeah, basically. I mean, the only thought I had was Patty Jenkins trying to be like, this is the Wonder Woman movie I would have made in 1984.
Sure.
Right, which I think, in the same way, like Superman 2, you've got E.G. Marshall as the president. He's obviously not Reagan.
Right.
But he's kind of like a generic president.
Right.
And that's kind of what this movie is doing.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, if that's your goal, that's fine. But I'm just like, lean into it a little bit. Lean into the era,
Yeah. No, I agree.
Do we want to talk some spoilers?
Yeah, well, let's just say also real quick, Kristen Wiig. Love her.
I've been a fan of hers since like forever. So
yeah, same.
The fact
SNL,
that
really.
It seems like a lot of people watching this movie are like, wow, she's really good in this. I'm like, damn right she is.
Yeah, she's always been good.
Yeah.
And I thought she actually did really well. I mean, I have questions about her character for you in spoilers, but I think what she was handed, she did very, very well. I
totally agree. She's doing a very specific superhero movie trope, which is the nerdy friend/fan of the hero,
right?
Who becomes, you said already Michelle Pfeiffer, but also Jim Carrey in Batman Forever.
Yep.
Jamie Foxx in Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah.
It's part of a long tradition,
Yep.
You want to get into it?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
Spoilers.
So biggest spoiler up front. So obviously Chris Pine comes back as Steve Trevor, and the big question was, how does he come back? And Diana, she gets her hands on the wishing stone, which what you said earlier is totally like, if the wishing stone is where your suspension of disbelief ends. Right. I question the arbitrariness of what you buy and what you don't. Right. This is a world where there's a wishing stone. Fine. So she makes her wish, and so Steve Trevor's back. How is he back? Well, he's like, his spirit is inhabiting, Sam Beckett style, the body of this random guy who I think is most known for being in Hallmark Christmas movies. So you might have seen.
Oh, is he? An unsuspecting person.
Random person. So
has been possessed. Yes.
And you're like, okay, that's fine. Okay, yeah. I go along with this. And then that night, boy, did they ever screw! Right. So much screwing, and so now we're left with a moral issue of that's like a dude's body.
Yeah.
That Diana just had her way with.
Yes.
Now here's my question. would it really have shattered disbelief to just have Steve Trevor show up and be like, "Hey, what's up? I'm back."
No. I don't know why they didn't do that.
Right?
Yes. I even, it wasn't something that occurred to me later. As I was watching I didn't like it. Right. I didn't like it. It's not clean. You know what I mean? It's just, there's so many questions it invites. And they're just like going through his closet.
Yes.
You know, having him put on all his clothes. And then I was like, wait, so the world sees the other guy, but she sees him, which I think is what they say.
She literally says, "I only see you."
Yeah. Yeah. But in the mirror, it looks like the other guy, I think. And you're just like, why? Like,
the only thing that was missing was Chris Pine looking and seeing the other guy in the mirror, and he heard the ring, and he's like, "Oh boy."
Wait, what?
That's like
yeah. Quantum leap, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's this weird extra, like, it was completely unnecessary.
Yeah. I would be curious to ask why
I'm not even getting
that.
into the relative morality of it, whatever. Like, I think there's a conversation. I don't want to get into that, but I'm just like, you could have avoided that entirely, and nobody would have said anything.
No, like you said, I mean, we've got a wishing stone. I'm in. Like,
yeah.
Then anything can happen. That's fine. Yeah.
If anything, I mean, it occurred to me later. I'm like, have it like he got pulled out of that airplane right before, and then he's going back to his death, like he knows it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, right.
You know, like there's an extra poignancy to that.
Right.
Like, I have to go back. There's this thing I have to do back there.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Oh, I like that. That's good.
But he is so good. Like, I really love their relationship.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, it's very much that I talk about Superman 2, right? Superman 2, the whole, you know, the human story there is that Clark wants to be with Lois. Mm-hmm. But if he wants to be with Lois, he has to be a human. Mm-hmm. So he has to give his powers, and that's the trade-off, right? And his realization is the world needs Superman. I can be Superman, or I can be Clark. I can be with Lois. I can't do both. Mm-hmm. And that's Wonder Woman's journey in this.
Right.
The only caveat is she's not a party to that choice.
Right.
Like, she realizes, oh, okay, this is like a monkey's paw thing.
Yeah, she didn't know that going into this.
Yeah. Like, she had no reason to think the wishing stone was a real thing. So that makes it slightly less impactful, but I think when she says goodbye to him, mm-hmm. and she, like, leaves before she can even see, like, she just turns her back on him and goes, and you just hear him saying, "I'll always love you." It was a great moment. I thought it really worked.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I almost feel bad kind of saying it, but when they first had the discussion in her apartment,
yeah,
I felt like you could have gotten more,
yes,
out of the stakes and how they're both feeling about it. And I've seen some people say it's unheroic for her to want this thing. I'm like, no, but she's a person with feelings. You know what I mean? Like, it's entirely understandable for someone to have a selfish moment if it means something good for them. You know, and then of course they do the right thing eventually. Yeah. But I almost would have liked to have seen her confronted with it a little bit more and wrestle with it a little bit more.
I agree.
But yeah. So I mean, that's that's probably my note on all of it. I don't mind almost anything that happened in the movie. I just wish maybe they had dug in a bit more, or even pushed Gal a little bit more.
Yeah.
In terms of, you know, just acting choices and things like that. She always, I really love her, and she is a movie star, and she looks fantastic as Wonder Woman. She's got the physicality. She's got in the first movie, she did that fish out of water, wide-eyed, innocent. Oh, so this is what your world is like, you know, kind of.
And I like, by the way, that this one inverts that. With Steve in that role, you know, I think that worked too.
But yeah, I just wish they would have pushed her a little bit more, because she always seems a little stoic. Mm-hmm. And in this movie, what she's doing isn't very stoic. Like, she is wrestling with these things. And I think if they had, I don't know, you know what I mean? I just think if they had dug in a little bit more with her, it would have sold it even harder. But
I mean, it's very, you know, what's funny is the movie starts with this flashback, right, where we're seeing Diana as a little kid and the whole thing with the Amazons, right? Mm-hmm. And first of all, I just rewatched the first one like mere hours earlier. And in that, you know, her mom is like, I'm not going to let you be trained. I'm not going to let you do anything. And, you know, as a teenager, you know, Robin Wright starts training her in secret. So I'm like, well, that doesn't fit with this then, because she's like a little kid here.
Oh, that's funny. I didn't even think about
that. But what's funny, you know, and then she like goes through the race, but she like cheated because she missed the thing. Which, by the way, I'm just going to say, I don't consider what she did cheating. I think she was clever and resourceful. But
I had the same thought in the moment. I thought she adapted.
Right?
Yeah, I don't think she cheated.
Right? But anyway, she comes back and Robin Wright's like, you cheated. A hero never cheats. You know, the truth is... And I'm like, how do you know she's going to be a hero? Like...
right.
Yeah. And it was just, I just thought it would be funny. Like, as I was watching, I thought it'd be very funny if the things that Robin Wright is saying are so weirdly specific to this movie.
Right.
That little Diana would be like, I don't like, even if you get a wishing stone, it doesn't, you know, it will come back and bite you. If a guy tries to grant you, if a guy talks to the president, even.
It's a standard monkey paw situation.
It was such a, like, it was so
hilarious.
specific. I was like, you should just lean into the specificity of it.
Yeah.
That was my thought. The other thought, we see earlier in the film, there's like a guy who, you know, Kristen Wiig is going through the park and this guy like is like ready to attack her, right? Mm-hmm. And then Diana comes and saves her life. So then she makes her wish, Kristen Wiig does, and she's becoming like the alpha predator or whatever. Mm-hmm. Same guy shows up, okay? Mm-hmm. And he's like, hey, baby, whatever. And Kristen Wiig like beats the shit out of him, mm-hmm. right? And then like the dramatic dark music starts playing. And her like homeless friend, who apparently is like everywhere, he's like, Barbara, what are you doing? Right? Yeah. And you're supposed to be like, oh my God, she's turning evil. And I'm sitting here watching, I'm like, that dude's a rapist.
Dude, I had the same conversation with my brother. I thought I didn't mind her kicking the crap out of him. What should have happened was she should have almost come to the point of killing him.
Sure.
Or something like really dark. You know
here's what I would say, Brian. Have it be somebody else.
Right. I mean, yeah.
I mean, have it be somebody else who's like, hey, baby, you look nice. Or something like jerky.
And then it triggers.
Yeah, and she's like, what did you say? And she like friggin' almost kills him.
Right.
But that guy, you're like, well, that guy's an idiot.
I know. Sorry, I feel like I'm talking over you. But we're agreeing. Like, I just said, I think the thing is like I said, this movie was trying to go a little younger for a younger audience, but like I would have liked to have seen her just lose it on this guy, or like use the full extent of her powers.
Yeah, I mean, to me that would work if it's somebody who hasn't done something to her.
Yeah, no, you're right. No, you're totally right. I think I'm there's like a symmetry to it that I understand from a screenwriting perspective.
Yeah,
but no, I think you're right. If she then just is reminded of something that upset her, and then she takes that out on another person because she can. Yeah. You're right. Maybe that would have been a better display of her. Yeah.
Yeah. Other things that some people have expressed thoughts on is her flying.
You know, I did think like, oh, we're doing that now. Like, oh, she can do that. But again, I think this movie was so comic booky that it didn't strike me. No, it did strike me actually, but I was like, okay.
You know what's funny is literally the moment in the film before she starts flying, the thought occurred to me was, she flies in the comics. I wonder why they don't do that in the. Oh, okay. Like that was
right.
like as I'm watching it,
Yeah. I did have, likewise, I did have the moment with Steve Trevor getting in that jet.
The fully fueled jet. I don't
know all those buttons.
It's like a museum exhibit that is fully fueled,
right,
and ready to fly to the Middle East.
Right. Well, and then I thought, I mean, he's only flown World War I planes, so that was kind of weird. And then also when they go through the fireworks, I was like, that thing's going so fast, it would have been like, meow. You know what I mean?
What's funny is they sort of hand wave, like where he's like, well, it's like it's air and currents,
right?
And you're like, okay. Like, I think it might be a little more than that,
Yeah. I would say for a lot of movies, these are things that I think of later, but these are all things I thought during the movie. I loved when Pedro Pascal was with the president, and he's like, "You follow me now," and the president's like, "Okay." And then Pedro turns around and goes, "What's on these easels?" "Oh, this is perfect for what I need." "What's this over here?" Like,
It just everything happens to be out.
yeah, it's just so random. It made me laugh.
I truly feel like part of the goal there was to get Pedro Pascal in front of the seal of the president to really drive home the Trump. I mean, I don't think I'm crazy for seeing like
I'm sure. No, probably not. Yeah.
I mean, he's playing 1980s Donald Trump.
Right. Oh, I see. I'll be honest, and maybe I'm just an idiot and I was in comic booky world. I wasn't thinking about it too much till afterwards, that aspect of it. But
I think, because that's Trump's whole spiel during that era was, the appearance of wealth while he's living on a mountain of debt.
right.
Which is exactly what Pascal's doing here. I will say this, by the way. What I was saying earlier about the ending relies on everybody renouncing their wish.
Yes.
Which, again, call me a cynic. I call bullshit because I don't think there's any way in the world enough people to matter would renounce their wish.
Right. Well, to like add to that, it's also positing that everyone in the world would wish for something destructive.
That's a good point.
Right? And like some people would probably wish that there were no nukes. Right? And some people would wish for nukes. And then, then everyone has to give that up at the end. And it just, that's why I'm like, I am willing to go along with a sort of parable, if you want to think of it that way, or just make it really, really generally broad. But yes, no, it absolutely invites those questions. And
on that subject, as a Muslim, I have to point this out. I'm kind of particular about portrayal of Middle Eastern Muslim characters.
Yeah.
You've got the Egyptian, like the king of crude. It's like, what's your wish?
Right.
I want all the heathens off my land. I'm like, of course you do, right? And then you have like some, like I'm assuming like a terrorist in Afghanistan or something. He's like, I wish for a nuclear weapon.
Right.
And I'm like, can we not? Can we just not do that all the time, please?
Right.
That being said, Pedro Pascal, I really liked him throughout the movie. I actually really like that they gave him a redemption arc.
Me too. Like, I mean, that goes along with what I was saying earlier, where I liked that the climax was about like morality, people's goodness. That's the climax. And I liked the whole thing too. I'm not going to say I entirely understood exactly what was happening the whole time with him, what his powers encompassed and what he was gaining and this and that. But I liked the visual of him getting the wishes he wants, but his body suffering.
Yeah.
Right? And when he's talking to his son and his eyes look like they're bleeding, I was like, I like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought it was also funny because, like, one of the people who works with him, he's like, hey, have you gotten what you wanted? Oh, you did. What's with you people in Porsches or something like that?
That was so funny. I was going to bring that up, actually. Yeah, and then some woman even says, like, oh, I could, it took me a minute to get here. There's a whole fleet of Porsches on the street. Like, that was so funny.
See, so to me, going back to what I was saying earlier, like, I get Patty Jenkins being like, oh, this is the me decade.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Right. Fine. But I'm also like, I feel like that story would have even more currency right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like to me, again, it's not like a deal breaker. I'm just like, why set it back then? Because to me, it just raises more questions.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, nothing about the setting was essential.
Yeah. I mean, you get some fanny pack jokes, but.
Maybe it was essential then. Now that so I don't know. I gave the movie a B-.
Mm-hmm.
And what I said online was, I mean, to me, the majority of the grade comes down to, I didn't regret watching it. It's not a movie I probably will revisit anytime soon.
Mm-hmm.
But I was mostly engaged when I watched it.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think. I would listening, like I said, to the /Filmcast. It was interesting because the regulars on the show really hated it.
Really?
And then they brought in a critic who gave it a good grade.
Okay.
And they asked, well, you turned that in early. You watched it before everyone else. Do you feel like you kind of had that, when you go to a film festival, that film festival high where you see something before everyone?
Interesting.
And then they're like, what do you think now that you've seen, you have some time to reflect on it, you've seen other people's critiques of it. Do you stand by that grade or do you think you would lower it? And I admired her for defending her grade because she said it has a lot to do.
What did she give it, Brian?
I don't remember, but it was let's just say it was positive.
Okay.
And they were very negative. I wish I don't remember. It was probably like a number thing, maybe 7 or 8 out of 10 or something.
Gotcha. Okay.
But it was about how it made her feel. Mm-hmm. And I was like, you know what? Even though I don't feel as positively as she did, I think she was able to force her way through the things that were hanging me up and see the movie that I wished it had been, that I thought it had some of the ingredients to be, but the cake didn't come out correctly. Mm-hmm. So that's where I find myself. Like I couldn't help but see those things, and it's disappointing. So it lowers the grade for me. Mm-hmm. But I do admire the ingredients they attempted.
Well, there we go. I think what you said, yeah, that's very apt. Like I think there's a good heart beating underneath all this.
Yeah. But I don't think the cake came out.
Yeah, I think that's accurate. And by the way, Warner Brothers announced like the next day, December 26th. Oh yeah, by the way, we've greenlit Wonder Woman 3.
Yeah.
And I wonder if part of that is sort of just to get out in front of any potential like negative stories, like it flopped or whatever,
Yeah.
But I also feel like a lot of how this one is perceived is gonna rely on how the third one comes out.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm here for it. I do like her a lot, and I want more of it. So
I mean, honestly, to me, we've mentioned the Reeve Superman movies a bunch. I mean, she is like Chris Reeve as Superman, where it's just like she is this character.
Right.
And that, to me, papers over a lot. I mean, I've said before, Superman 3, I'll gladly watch it just because I like seeing Chris Reeve as Superman.
Right.
And I think that's, for me, the central relationship was compelling. That made a lot of it go down a little bit easier for me.
Yeah, it's kind of like what I've said when we've revisited the Batman movies. I mean, when Batman, let's just go there. Batman and Robin, when that came out, and that's the Batman movie of the moment. Here's where we are with Batman. You can't help but go, ugh.
Yeah, very true.
But when we have 10 Batman movies now, and Batman and Robin's on TV, yeah, I'd totally stop on it and go, oh, geez. And kind of just take it for what it is. And it's still not going to be my favorite Batman movie, but it's a Batman movie.
So there we go.
So,
Tenet is the Batman and Robin of Christopher Nolan movies, and Wonder Woman 1984 is the Batman and Robin of Wonder Woman movies. I think that's the takeaway from this episode.
Yeah. Wait, can I ask you a quick question? Because I need your expertise. So when Kristen Wiig wishes to become a cheetah.
Yes.
Now, in the comics, is she actually a half-animal hybrid? Or is she someone in a costume with the persona of, I'm the cheetah? Yeah,
so pre-Crisis, so in 1986, they did a storyline called Crisis on Infinite Earths, which reset the continuity. So before the Crisis, she was a woman in a costume. Mm-hmm. Post-Crisis, she's like a half-cat woman.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, there have been different characters, different characters who go by the name. So the Barbara Minerva version has always been like the half cat woman.
Okay. Yeah. Our whole family, when she was like, I wish to be, an apex predator.
Yeah.
And then she becomes like not human anymore. We were all like, why?
Yeah. Right. Well, and the other thing,
why did she do that? I mean, she's kind of got everything she wanted. She's got the powers and the people. Everybody's paying attention to her now and looks.
Which, I mean, I suppose you could, and maybe this is just me being generous. You could say this goes to this idea that you're never happy with what you have.
Right, and you know what? it could link to that scene too, where she's beating that guy up. Where if the movie is saying, you're sort of losing your humanity, right, and then to the point where she's like, I don't even care to be human. I just want to dominate.
Right.
Yeah.
I think the problem is, you set us up for her transformation, and then like Wonder Woman kicks her ass inside of 3 minutes, which makes it slightly less impressive. Like, and then she's like back to normal by the end. That's the other thing,
right?
Because I don't think she renounced her wish, and I'm like, well, you should show her renouncing her wish.
Yeah. It was left a little open. I don't know what they wanted us to take away exactly from that. I took it as she did renounce it.
But you should show us that then, right? Just a quick cutaway.
Yeah.
Right? I mean...
I just took it as, instead of seeing her actually say the words, we see that she relented.
I mean, I feel like she's too important a character in the overall narrative.
Right.
Like, if her whole thrust before, she's like, I'm not going to give up my wish. Forget you.
Right.
Well, then you should show us, like, that she did do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, we almost completely talked past Linda Carter's cameo.
Oh yeah. Well, then that was like a fun mid-credit sequence where, speaking of Monster Hunter, right, where it's just sort of a little bonus.
Yes.
Right, and that was kind of a cute wink, to the story earlier about the woman who held off all these people using that armor, and of course,
which kind of a nice way to work Linda Carter in. Like, what a great character to have her play. Mm-hmm. Like, she's the reason that the Amazons exist. I mean,
right.
It's very meta, right?
Yeah. And
the other thing, actually, relating to that, Linda Carter, by the way, who still looks amazing. My gosh.
Yeah, stunning.
I had such a crush on her when I was a kid. But I feel like bringing Steve Trevor into the present is very much an homage to the 1970s TV show. Which you probably don't remember if you've seen it at all.
I only know the images of it. I don't know if I've ever seen it.
So the first season was set during World War II. Oh. And so it's Wonder Woman and Steve Trevor, right? And then in the second and third season, they brought it forward to the 1970s.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and so you have Wonder Woman in the quote-unquote present, and you have Lyle Wagner, who played Steve Trevor. He's back. But it's however many decades later. So instead, he's Steve Trevor Jr.
Oh, okay.
And I feel like having Chris Pine as Steve Trevor in the present was like a very subtle nod to the old TV show.
Okay.
Which, again, maybe I'm just reading into it. But, I mean, it's clear that Patty Jenkins was paying homage to the show in a variety of different ways.
Right.
One other piece of trivia I found, somebody had to point this out for me because I haven't seen Batman versus Superman enough, but the music when Wonder Woman is like talking to the world at the end, that's the same music from the beginning of Batman versus Superman.
Oh.
So Hans Zimmer is like using from his own catalog. It's called A Beautiful Lie, I think it's called.
Oh, okay.
It's the same track.
I didn't notice that.
See, I don't know I don't know that movie enough to have seen it.
But I'm glad it's there for the people that would pick up on it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the Batman vs Superman begins with the ritual sacrifice of the Waynes, and this is the music that plays over that.
Yeah.
And so there's some thematic connection that Zimmer is trying to weave. I'm going to be honest and say I don't know enough about that film to say what it is, but that connection is there. So there.
Nice.
And the score is good, actually. It is a good score, Hans Zimmer. Mm-hmm. I think I like the first score better, but this one is good too.
Yeah, I agree.
Alrighty. So I think that wraps up this discussion. What do you think?
Yeah, man, I've been looking forward to this.
We covered a lot of ground.
In particular.
Well, we'll be back soon, and we'll be back next week with our commentary track for The Force Awakens.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, we got to do as weird as 2020 was. I still think we should do a top of the year also. I want to hear yours.
I think
I always enjoy looking back and thinking about it.
Yeah, let's be back in 2 weeks with that.
Sure.
That gives me a little time to catch up on my screeners.
Yeah.
Well, very cool. Well, as we bring the curtain up on 2021, anything you want to tell our audience about?
Yeah, still working on Puppy Dog Pals, and those are on Disney Channel, Disney Junior, and Disney Plus.
And this was something I had hoped to say during our last episode of the last year. We didn't get that chance, so I want to say it now. Thank you to everybody for sticking with us during this past year. I mean, we haven't had the same schedule in terms of new releases, but we've managed to keep the show going. And for me, honestly, this pandemic has been kind of crazy, but the fact that you and I get to just shoot the breeze for a couple hours every week, every other week is really, it's like, that's what makes it worth it for me. Doing the show, not the pandemic. It doesn't make the pandemic, but it makes doing the show worth it. Just to clarify.
No, of course. I totally agree. I mean, having this thing that, this appointment, these standing appointments where we just get to hang out and talk and riff and make each other laugh. And I think we've always it's been great having people write in, but I feel like, I could be wrong, but this year especially, we've just gotten so much feedback and questions and engagement, and it's just been really awesome. And I feel so plugged in, to everyone who joins us for this show. So it's been a really nice constant throughout this year.
And we will be back next week with our first commentary track for 2021. So that'll be exciting. And as always, please, folks, go to iTunes and leave a review, leave a star rating. Every little bit helps. If you're looking for me, you can find me on Twitter at Zacky's Corner. That's ZAKIS Corner. You can also go to my website, justadded.com. If you want to reach out to us, you can email us at moviefilmpodcast@gmail.com, or you can hit like on our Facebook page, facebook.com/moviefilmpodcast, and you can message us there. With that, I'm going to put a pin in episode 215 of the show, but on behalf of my partner, Brian Hall, my name is Zachy Hassan. We'll catch you next time. Thanks, everybody.
Welcome, friends. It's the Movie Film Podcast. Movie Film Podcast.